Basically, I would like to welcome you all into this first lecture of ICS 104, Introduction to Programming using Python and C. First of all, I'd like to go over I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Wasl Khatib, and inshallah, we'll have a very fruitful semester and interesting one. So inshallah, I'll start directly going to the syllabus to discuss it with you, and then if you have any questions, and then we will move on to our first lecture. Okay. طيب, any question before we proceed? Any question? تمام. طيب. So let me share your syllabus. Where is it? This is. But do you see the syllabus, Shasharan?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, let me go over the course catalog description. As you know, we will be, the title is Introduction to Programming in Python and C. So first, we will take an overview of computer hardware and software to know what that has to do with programming. And then we will start talking about programming in Python with emphasis on basic program constructs, variables, assignments, expressions, decision structures, looping functions, lists, files, and exceptions. And then we will talk about an introduction to objects and classes. And this will consume 12 weeks of the semester. In the last 3 weeks of the semester, we will go into programming in C with emphasis on pointers and functions with output parameters. Simple multidisciplinary problem solving in science, engineering, and business will also be introduced. So this is kind of a summary of the course that we are going to go through, inshallah. So the course objectives are basically to provide the students with basic principles of programming and to develop the required problem-solving skills needed in programming. This course is supposed to be one of the most interesting courses. To learn how to program, especially, even how minute, the problem that you are solving or developing a solution for it, whether in Python or C. I don't know. If I want to describe this, from my own feelings, I would have felt a lot of thrill achieving that. I hope that you will feel the same. The course learning outcomes. Well, upon completion of the course, you should be able to write Python expressions, use Python's control structures in problem solving, use the console and file for input and output, use Python's lists, tuples, and dictionaries in problem solving, develop Python code to solve a specific problem, and become familiar with programming constructs that are special to the C language. Okay. One thing that I would like to mention here is that we do not expect that once you know Python, you become an expert in C. Okay. Our concentration on C is basically for you to see, the differences between the two languages, and look at the specific programming
الصوت قطع يا دكتور.
قطع الصوت يا دكتور.
ما نسمع شيء يا دكتور. We cannot hear you دكتور.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, now yes.
Okay. Since something happened, طيب, let me just in case I will turn on my my internet, my Wi-Fi, just in case if the although I'm connected to the internet, but anyway. Okay. Right. So, what was the last thing that you heard from me?
You said that you're not expecting that.
Yes,
when
very good.
Python,
Yes.
we should learn like be
That
familiar with C.
you should become experts in C. Yes, exactly. However, you will know the basic tools. You will know the basic concepts, such that if you have to write a program in C, and if you are given, enough amount of time, you should be able to do so. Okay, so your mastery of C is not expected to be as or similar to your mastery in Python. Right? So this is something that I would like to the textbook, unfortunately, I don't think that you have received the Python for Everyone textbook, right?
Yes.
Yes. The number of copies that we received was way less than the number of students. So we don't have, we don't have the hard copy of the textbook. However, I will somehow, upload the electronic version. Okay.
55 درجة.
طيب. يا شباب لو if you keep your mic muted, that would be best. But anyway. Right. Okay. So, but hopefully you got the second book, Problem Solving and Program Design in C, which we will be taking for the C part. Of course, in addition to the lecture and lab handout. Okay. Right. Now let's come to the assessment plan, and let me start with the last two things, which are the midterm and the final. Now. Some of you have not been, at KFUPM for a long time, but usually upon the start of the semester, we should get the schedule for the final exam, right? Do we have that now?
I think no, they haven't decided yet. I think the plan is.
Yes, I checked. I checked in the morning, and there was nothing. Okay. And as you all know, by decision, by the higher administration, that the midterm exam and the final exam are going to be physical. Okay, so that's why we are going to deviate from what we did last semester. Last semester, all exams were online. We had 3 tests. Okay, we had 3 tests that are online. Of course, in addition to the final that was also online. In this semester, we're going to forget about the test. Okay, we are going to have only 2 major tests: the midterm exam and the final exam, which are worth 25% and 30% respectively. So this is for a total of 55%. Right. Now, what are we going to do with the rest of the assessment? Well, first of all, the lab work, as usual, is 20%. The details of the lab work will be given to you, inshallah, next week, okay, upon your first, when you take your first lab. We will have 5 homework assignments, 2% each, for a total of 10. And this semester, inshallah, we will have the 5 homework assignments, kind of 1 every 3 weeks. because as of now, as I'm speaking, we do have graders. Okay, we do have graders. Unlike in the previous semester, we didn't have a grader until maybe, I think, after maybe 5 weeks or 6 weeks, something like that. Graders were grading the last 3 homework after the final exam was finished. It was really bad last semester. So inshallah, this time, yani, it will be much better. Then we will have quizzes, and it seems that I'll be teaching two sections, and in order to preserve the time of the lecture, especially if something goes wrong, whether it's an internet connection, somebody is not able to connect properly, and things like that. I don't want to take this out of the class time. So inshallah, we will do it on we'll do it outside class time. However, I will not impose on you, which day are we going to specify. I'm going to do that. I'm basically going to make a poll or a survey, and possibly maybe, well, I'll see. Maybe I will do it on Teams, and then we will decide, what is the best, the most suitable to most of you to take the quiz, whether it's a weekday or a weekend. And of course, if it's a weekday, then most probably it's going to be in the evening. So inshallah, we will do that. We'll try to achieve that later. Okay. How many quizzes? Well, it depends on the midterm. The midterm, by the way, is going to be maybe between week 7 and week 9. Until now, we're not sure. So we'll see. Maybe we'll have 5 quizzes or 6 quizzes, something like that. Take the best 5. Okay. Then we have participation. Now, in participation, there will be 2 things. One thing is sometimes I will ask you to do some activities in class, maybe to be submitted later. Also, I will try every week to post, a small, I don't want to call it quiz or exam, because it is not really a quiz or an exam. It's just, kind of a refresher. I want to make sure that, you read the book once a week at least. Yes. So what I will do is I will post a small quote unquote, activity on Blackboard. 99.999% is going to be multiple choice. Yes. It will take maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes of your time. I'll give you 20 minutes, but not only that. Of course, it's open book. You can look at anything that is. I'm not going to monitor you when you do it. However, when you if you submit it and assume that you didn't get 10 out of 10, by the way, I'll give you another attempt. And if you don't get 10 out of 10, I'll give you a third attempt. So I'll give you 3 attempts. Okay, to do it in order to secure all the marks. So if you attend class regularly and do these activities, and if you do those 1 week or those weekly things, I think you should secure the 5%. Okay, you should be able to secure. And of course, the midterm is 25%, and the final exam is 30%. So before I continue, any questions from any one of you regarding the assessment or whatever I have discussed? No question?
Teacher,
Khalid. أيوة يا Khalid.
Regarding the midterm and the final, it will be consist of like multiple choice, the type of question.
No, we have not decided yet, but I know for sure it will not only be multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this is actually a good this is a good question, because let me tell you what should you expect, or what should you know what do we expect from you? Really, what we expect from you is to become a good programmer. Okay, multiple choice questions do not measure that. We had students scoring very high in multiple choice questions, but in the lab test, for example, they couldn't even write 2 or 3 lines of code. This is not what we would like to do, especially the freshman students who are going to take the ISE 291, which is the Introduction to Data Science, and the COE 292, and this will be taken by every freshman who's joining KFU PM, following the new programs that were introduced in the beginning of this year, not this year, like in the beginning of this academic year, right? In the previous semester.
طب في دقيقة محل مشاوي وين؟
المشاوي.
مرتب.
تحكي لنا بعدين يا الشباب عن المحل هذا. Okay. طيب. So going back to to what I wanted to say is, you really the way to study for this course is not to read the slides, is not to read the book. You have to read the book. You have to go through the slides, but you have to write code with your own hands. And you have to try to solve as many questions as you can. You have to write write as many programs as you can. Okay, so many people or many students ask me, what's the best way to study for this course? Well, what is the best way to study for Math 101 or Math 102? Solve as many questions, right? Here, write as many programs. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. And once you get the hang of this, once you know how to program, inshallah, I can guarantee you that you're going to have a smooth, transition to the ISE 291 and COE 292. Okay, that was a good question. In which tool does attendance fit? Attendance, we're going to use the regular the attendance in Microsoft Teams. And usually I take it at the end. And by the way, it basically shows. Well, let's wait until we talk about attendance in the syllabus. Okay. Right. So this is kind of the lecture and lab schedule. So week 1, overview of computer programming using Python, and of course there is no lab. And then you have the rest of the week until week 11. Basically, so 11 weeks you're going to spend on Python, and then 12, 13, and 14 will be spent on the C language. Okay, right. So regarding lab, lectures and labs are integrated and they complement each other. This is, by the way, very important. Don't expect the lab to be a repetition of the lecture. Not even a summary of the lecture. Not even a summary of the lecture. In fact, in the lab, we might start with new information or new, functions, the new whatever things that were not covered in the lecture, but they are covered in the lab, and you can be asked in both, in exams, in lab tests, in lecture, in midterm, in final, in quizzes. Okay, so they complement each other. Okay, they complement each other. It's not like the lab is a summary of the lecture. You should try to use the lab to enhance your programming skills. And you should try to, whenever you face a problem or a difficulty, make sure that you ask your lab instructor. Okay, because this is your opportunity, to get help while coding, while trying to write code, or while trying to debug code. Okay, so this is regarding the lab. The requirements for the lab project will be discussed in the lab. Well, I don't know this semester whether we are going to have a lab project or not, but again, those details, inshallah, you will hear from the lab, from your lab instructor next week. The course website and participation. Students are required to periodically check the course website on the Blackboard and download course materials as needed. Several resources will be posted through the website as well. Keys to exams are generally discussed during class as time permits, but solutions will not be posted. Well, I think we are going to post solutions, okay? And yeah, I think we are going to post solutions of exams. A common Blackboard will be used for communication and interaction, posting and submitting assignments, posting grades, posting sample exams, etc. Now, for this one, we might deviate a little bit. We might use something which is called the grade scope in order to submit homework assignments, but I will leave that until until that materializes. Okay. We had issues in the last semester regarding homework submission. We'll see whether we'll try to to alleviate it. It's expected that you get benefit of the discussion board by raising questions or answering questions put by others. Your active participation and the usefulness of the material you share with other students will be rewarded. Well, maybe in my section, I don't know, I might not put exact rewards for them, because I have my own ideas regarding participation. Right. Online attendance. Regular online attendance is a university requirement, hence attendance will be checked each lecture and lab. Missing more than 6 lectures or 3 or more unexcused labs will result in a D in grade without prior warning. To avoid being considered as absent, an official excuse must be shown no later than 1 week of returning to campus. Now, regarding the attendance, in my classes, if you are late 3 minutes or less, I will not consider you late. But if you join the room more than after 3 minutes, I will consider you late. Okay, and this might decrease your participation, because I can also include attendance and participation. Now, if you join after 17 minutes, then you will be considered as that. Okay. So I hope that you take attendance seriously. If you face problems, in your attendance, like for example, network issues, please note that the network issues also appear on the attendance that I take from Microsoft Teams, right? So if you are late and you might be considered late or absent because of that, let me know, okay? And maybe I will, I'll cancel it. I'll consider not counting it, especially when I see the long line, okay? So I hope that you take attendance, inshallah. Right. No makeup of tests will be given. In fact, the only makeups that were given were basically kind of oral makeup. So you will be in front of a committee of 3 faculty members. They might ask you 2-3 questions orally, and then they might ask you to write certain code. It will be totally different from the format of the regular exam, if if the absence was excused. Okay. So basically, it's better not to avoid makeup, because makeups are kind of way different, and some students they consider them to be more difficult than regular ones. Right. Let me stop here a little bit. Any questions so far on what I mentioned before I finish the syllabus?
دكتور
تفضل.
المعذرة بس عندي ملاحظة بسيطة.
تفضل.
صوتك أحس فيه صدى فصاير جزء منه واضح وجزء لا.
Anybody else can corroborate this?
The same issue, دكتور.
يعني
هو شوي مش واضح دكتور الصوت.
كلامك غالب واضح.
طيب let me try and right now I'm using the Bluetooth. Let me try to use wired, although the wire was, I felt it was not that good, but let me try. Okay. طيب. How's the voice now? Better or worse?
It's better. Much better.
Much better? خالص
Yes.
زي ما بدكم. طيب ممتاز. Okay.
And one more thing about the attendance, Doctor. There's a
نعم.
problem that happens in Teams, at least for me, it happens every now and then, where I don't see the meeting. So I need to close Teams and then reopen it again. So that might take a little bit of time.
If that happens with you, let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Okay. So regrading policy, if you have a complaint about any of your grades, discuss it with the instructor no later than a week of distributing the grades. Of course, except for the final. The final you get 24 hours. Only legitimate concerns on grading should be discussed. Grading related to the homework will go to the grader, who grades your homework, and you can contact the three graders. Inshallah, we will give you their contacts, and the one who graded your assignment will inshallah contact you. Online office hours. Students are encouraged to use the online office hours to clarify any part of the material that is not clear. Inshallah, I will finalize the office hours soon. By the way, and I forgot to apologize, for this cancellation. I had an appointment for one of my children in the hospital, and although I was about to, I asked the doctor that, if we reach there at 8 a.m., will I be, finished by 8:30? And he said yes. And we did not finish until 9:40. We left the hospital at 9:40. It's good that, everything was online. I was able to tell you on Teams so that you don't have to wait and waste your time. Okay, so inshallah I will finalize the office hours, and you will see them inshallah here at the end, along with the office hours of all the other instructors. And feel free to ask any of the instructors. One thing that I would like to mention here is that do not try to contact me or any other faculty member using Teams outside office hours, especially with the chat or a call. You can't imagine how frustrating this comes to us, especially if you receive 10 calls a day. They might clutter the whole day for you. If you want to call me on Teams, please do so during the office hours. Otherwise, I prefer that you contact me by email, and we can set up a meeting. Okay, we can set up a meeting, and we can use Teams. You can call me, video, audio, whatever. Okay. Right. Academic honesty. Students are expected to abide by all university regulations on academic honesty. Cheating will be reported to the department chairman and will be severely penalized. Although collaboration and sharing knowledge is highly encouraged, copying others' works classmates, others from the web checked. All this will be checked. Maybe some, got away with it last semester, but not this semester and onwards. Yani we're learning some of the tricks, and I think the best way, to secure a good grade is basically to study and to program as many programs as you can. This is the second time I'm saying it, and maybe by the end of the semester, I would have said this another million times. Well, not million, that's many. So whenever in doubt, review the university guidelines or consult the instructor. Cheating in whatever form will result in an F grade. In fact, last semester, some students were caught in one of the courses, I don't want to say which course, in ICS. They, they copied code from the same source. It was easily caught, and they all got Fs. And it was sad, but I'm not sure whether it was Fs or Ds. Now I don't recall, but their grade was destroyed. You really don't want to do that. But the last thing, students are expected to be courteous toward the instructor and their classmates throughout the duration of this course. Students are expected to join the online class on time. Basically, I do not consider any question to be what you call a stupid question. Please, whenever you are in doubt, ask. Don't think that your question might waste the time of the class. Don't make that call. I will make that call. If you ask me a question and I see that it is better to be answered outside class time, I will make that judgment. I will make that decision. Don't make that decision. You might be asking, a question that, that has a nice idea that comes usually in exams. It's better to ask. And again, if it was not good to answer during class time, I will tell you very respectfully that, well, let's take it until after class or during the office hour. Inshallah, we can discuss it. To contact your instructor, please use KFUPM email whenever possible and avoid using phone calls or written notes. When necessary, to send an email to the university email system, please indicate 202 ICS 104 in the subject field of your email. Right. So with this, and I'm done with my contract with you, with our syllabus. So any questions before we proceed on to the first set of slides in our course?
دكتور,
تفضل.
can you send the syllabus through Blackboard?
And inshallah, here once the common Blackboard account is set, you will see the syllabus. I might even put my recordings on YouTube for everybody to see as a resource or as a backup, if you'd like to review or do anything. Inshallah, we'll do that in the common Blackboard.
Doctor?
تفضل.
What about the grading method? It will be a standard or it's average?
No. It's average. The university has developed a formula depending on the standard deviation and the average of the students, and the grades are generated automatically. We don't even look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Doctor?
Now,
Just wanted to point out that I am a special needs student and I have vision difficulties. So can you consider an assistance regarding when I face any difficult stuff when reading, like increasing the font size and stuff?
طيب. Let's start. We will start now, and if you find, by the way, I think you can. Well, I don't know if you can control the zoom, zooming. But you will see because everything is going to be in the browser. You will see inshallah. Okay. Tamam. Let me after the class if there is any issue, let me know.
All right. Thank you.
Tamam. Okay. Right. So let me share the screen. Okay. Well, before sharing the screen. Now.
Yes, regarding the lab instructor, I've registered the lab with the specific doctor, and suddenly they change to unknown instructor. So when I will know the lab instructor name?
When you take the lab, inshallah.
Because I was registered with Dr. Rashad, and they changed it. So they
Yes,
will,
yes.
I change it.
Well, there are changes happening, you know, the assignment, for example, and I had only one section, now I have two sections. That section popped up yesterday. We'll see. Okay. Right. So let me first share the whole desktop, and then I will share the screen. Okay. Now you can see the desktop, huh? So listen to what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna type Anaconda. Do you see the Anaconda prompt?
Yes.
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 So because this is what inshallah you'll be doing, Jupyter Notebook. I will type Jupyter Notebook, and now you can see, you know, ICS 104, 202, lecture slides, instructor, lectures, and this is our first set of lectures. Okay, right. So this is called basically Jupyter Notebook. It's not PowerPoint, okay, but it has a very good advantage over PowerPoint, is that you can see the slides and you can run code in the slide, and you can change codes in the slides. Okay, that's the beauty of Jupyter Notebook. So let me now stop the sharing of the desktop, because I want to share only the notebook, so that it will become easier for you to follow. So let me share. Can you see the notebook, ya shabab?
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
Okay. So now,
Yeah.
okay. So now I'm entering now. This is kind of the slides modes, right? So this is Introduction to Programming in Python and C. And we will start with chapter 1, sections 1 to 6. Now, the learning outcomes, we will learn about computers and programming. We will write and run your first programming snippet or code in Python, and you will recognize compile time and runtime errors and the difference between them. Okay, so this is kind of the first set of learning outcomes out of chapter 1. Right. So computer programs. What is the computer? Well, the computer is a machine that stores data, numbers, words, pictures, interacts with devices like the monitor, the sound system, the printer, the scanner, and executes programs. Okay, and executes programs. So it's basically, you know, kind of data manipulation. You know, taking data from the user, displaying data on the screen or to the printer. We can actually also get data from the scanner, which is different from when you take it from the user, and so on and so forth. A computer program tells a computer in minute detail. ايش يعني minute detail يا شباب؟ What does it mean, minute details?
Specific details.
Even small details. صح؟ Minute يعني دقيق, right? In minute details, the sequence of steps that are needed to fulfill a task. The sequence of steps that are needed to fulfill a task. So the act of designing and implementing computer programs is called programming. And this is the main outcome that we would like you to come out with after taking this course, is how to know programming and to practice programming, to do programming, okay? The physical computer and peripheral devices are collectively called the hardware. So what's an example of the physical computer and peripheral devices that are called hardware? What do you think an example is?
CPU.
CPU. طيب. What else? Well, you can see a couple of hardwares in these pictures.
The screen, the keyboard, the mouse.
The keyboard, the mouse, the monitor, صح? All this is hardware, okay? All this is hardware. The programs the computer executes are called the software, okay? The programs that the computer executes are called the software. طيب. So now, what is the anatomy of a computer? What is like the different components of the computer? Well, the computer hardware consists of the physical elements in a computer system. The physical elements in a computer system. Physical means, things that you can touch, right? So the central processing unit, the CPU, performs program control and data processing. Storage devices, which is another type of hardware, storage devices include primary memory and secondary storage. Now, primary memory consists of memory chips that are fast and more expensive, and they are basically electronic circuits that can store data as long as it is provided electric power. So let me ask you, if I switch the computer off, I turn it off, would that data stay, or would they be gone?
It would be gone.
It would be gone, right? It would be gone, okay? So they store data as long as it is provided electric power. So once the electric power is gone, that data is gone, okay? Examples are RAM and ROM, right? RAM, which stands for random access memory, and ROM, which stands for read-only memory, okay? How have you heard about RAMs? I'm pretty sure that you know what a RAM is.
Yes.
Yes, it is something like storage the information in your computer quickly, I think, or something like that. I'm not sure the definition is right.
Well, it's memory. It's memory, but because it is inside the computer and it requires, it is very fast as far as fetching information and writing information, or reading and writing to those RAMs, right? Then we have another type of memory or storage devices, secondary storage, which provides slower, less expensive storage that is persistent. ايش يعني persistent؟ يعني even when you switch off the computer and you switch off the electricity and your neighborhood is switched off, that data is still there. Okay, that's why they call it persistent, right? It stays. Examples are hard disks, flash drives, CD, DVD drives, and basically and the like. So for example, if I ask you the following, the USB that you hold in your hand, do we consider it primary memory or secondary storage?
Secondary storage.
صح?
Secondary storage.
Secondary
Yes.
storage, right?
Because it
Secondary
doesn't
storage.
go away.
So we consider the USB as secondary storage. But if you go by, you know, 4 gig of RAM, well, that's considered primary memory. That is considered primary memory. Right. So computers store both data and programs. Both are located in secondary storage and are loaded into primary storage when programs are executed. Okay. So basically, the primary storage will get the data from the secondary storage, execute or perform whatever calculations needed, and if some data needs to be stored back, we can also store it back into the secondary storage. طيب. Input-output devices allow the user to interact with the computer. For example, the mouse, the keyboard, the printer, the screen. Right. Now, question. For each one of those, I would like you to tell me whether it is input or output. The mouse.
Input.
Input.
Input, صح? The mouse
Yes.
is input. طيب. Keyboard.
Input.
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 And keyboard is input. Printer.
Output.
Output.
Printer is output. You know, printer is output. Screen or monitor.
Output.
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 Output. Speakers.
Output.
Output.
Microphone.
Input.
Input. Huh? Okay, Shabab. So all these are different devices that you can see in a computer or associated or attached to a computer. So let's talk about the central processing unit, and maybe before the Python programming language. Let me try to finish these two slides, and inshallah I will set you free. Okay. So the CPU, which stands for the Central Processing Unit, has two components: the control unit and the arithmetic logic unit. The control unit directs operation of the processor. So computer resources are managed by the control unit. Okay, it controls communication and coordination between input and output devices. The control unit. You know, whenever you need certain data from secondary storage, the control unit will, you know, issue that command and will get that data to the right place in the computer. It reads and interprets instructions and determines the sequence for processing the data. So if you have a set of instructions, the control unit will decide, you know, I will execute first this instruction, then I will execute the second instruction, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. It also provides timing and control signals. Okay, it also provides timing and control signals. Like for example, if you want the computer to sleep for a certain amount of time before it wakes up, all these are carried out by the control unit. The arithmetic logic unit, on the other hand, contains the circuitry to perform calculations and do comparisons. Okay, to perform calculations and to do comparisons. This is done by the arithmetic logic unit. Sometimes it is, you know, abbreviated as the ALU, unit. So it is the workhorse portion of the computer, and its job is to do precisely what the control unit tells it to do. Okay, so all the number crunching, all the things that basically get calculated are carried out by the ALU, or the arithmetic logic unit, according to the instruction given by the controller.
Doctor?
Now,
so the arithmetic logic unit is the measurement of the speed of the processor, like if it is 2.6 gigahertz or something like that?
Well, Well, the speed is something different. It basically the speed, is kind of an indication of how many instructions can you carry out. يعني, especially in one unit. يعني in one CPU cycle. So again, can you say your question? So the ALU,
I mean, is it the way we measure the speed of a CPU, or we measure it using the control panel?
Well, the control panel is only a program, صح? However, to know the speed is basically related to how many instructions can you do per second, or how many instructions can you can do per cycle. And of course, for example, the number of instructions will increase if you have more than one processor, if you have pipelining and all other types of things that measure basically the speed. But inshallah, we have already 3 minutes above time, so inshallah I will answer maybe that question better inshallah next time.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's wait. I don't think that I can do the last slide now, so inshallah we will do it and we will continue بإذن الله day after tomorrow. طيب, any question يا شباب before we break?
All clear, teacher.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Doctor.
حياكم الله. طيب, نراكم على خير إن شاء الله بعد بكرة. يلا, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.